Hey everybody, so one additional video for today. I decided to have a closer look to some Android blogs that are out there. So it's a pretty common topic. I suppose there will be like lots of blogs to choose from, and it's true. And since I'm located in Germany, we use German browser and so on. It's a set. We have the choice between multiple Android blogs on the German market, so in German. But it shouldn't make no difference if it's German or it's English. Let's have a look at how these pages how they perform in terms of web of page speed. So it's just the first one. It's like Android Pit is probably most known in Germany. And let's have a look at how Android Pit performs. Okay, so once again, we open with F12 the DevTools in Chrome, and we also disable the cache, so we have real data coming from the server. There's nothing that gets cached. So we have pretty detailed results in terms of data that's been transferred to the browser. And then let's open tech news from Android Pit. So this is the news page on Android Pit. All right, so click. We've loaded it. Blah blah. Some questions here. Nope, I'm not going to do this. GDPR. Click OK. So we're ready to run. Okay, so let's have a quick look at what we had here. So we see that this page needed 89 requests, which is okay. So it's a lot. So you could serve this page with less requests easily. And then we have 817 kilobyte transferred, which is pretty good because it's below 1 MB. And there is 1.9 megabyte of resources. What's the difference between these two numbers? So this is the total of data as it is on the server, and it is transferred. So no, it comes in my client. So this data is obviously compressed to just 817 kilobyte. So this is the amount of data that's been really transferred to the net to my browser. But when after it's unzipped, so after opening of deflating the content, we get like 1.9, so almost 2 MB of data. Okay, so the page needed over 10 seconds to be loaded and rendered completely. So it's a lot of time. Let's say I have not that fast internet connection. Let's suppose this. We could do this, but I think the reason is not in my internet connection, but in how this page is loaded. So let's see what we have here. We have like some images on the top. They maybe are too big, I suppose. I don't know. Then we have like articles as you've expected from a blog. And as I see, when I scroll down, there is no image that loads after it's been in the view. So I suppose there is no lazy load here. Okay, then we have some pagination down here. All right, let me click on page 2. We're back there, so nothing that loads afterwards. All right, okay, so let's go back to page 1. All, and then let's have a closer look to our network tab. And so we see lots of things are loaded. We've sorted this after the size. and then see what happens. So the biggest element we have here is just 89 kilobyte, which is obviously very pretty small. So I like this. But we also see this is like a survey script, so something that doesn't belong to the page natively. They've used it like for some survey. I think it was the one that opened on the right as we opened the page for the first time. Okay, so we won't take a look at this very closely because it doesn't belong to the page. So 89 kilobyte, then we go over to 83 kilobyte, which is okay. And this is a JavaScript file, vendor bundle, and so on and so forth. And this is the first one coming from Android Pit. Interestingly enough, you see this comes from the domain androidpit.info, and it's the subdomain static, which is a thing that is commonly used to have the files, the static files like JavaScript and CSS and images are loaded from a different server. So there is like load balancing between this server and the ones that you use to load the site, the HTML. So you also use this, in fact, to get rid of any communication that may fill up your headers, like cookies. And when we take a look at these headers from the communication between my browser and the server, we see that there are no cookies. So it seems this is why they use Android Pit Info. This domain and the subdomain does not share any cookies. So this keeps the header small and the communication much faster. So okay, good idea. You could do this. Let me see one additional thing. So we have, interestingly enough, I think this is HTTP 1.1. I don't see any sign that it's 2.0, which would solve this problem automatically. Okay, so unfortunately, yeah, I don't like this. I don't see here if it's HTTP 1.0, 1.1 or 2, and this is something I don't like, definitely don't like. All right. Okay, let's close this and have a broader, detailed look at the other elements. So it's like 83 a kilobyte, and it's not that much, and it goes on like this. So it's a pretty good website, I have to say. So you see there is lots of elements that are like, there are minimized to some kilobytes. Just it looks pretty good, I have to admit. Oh boy, look at this. So we have a cache time that expires on 27th April of 2020, so 1 year from now on. So this is pretty impressive. So this is like a cache range, a caching time that you should set for something like that's like CSS. You know, if you change the content, they'll probably do two things. First, the A tag will then be changed so that the browser knows that there is a change in the content. It's the first thing to do. The other one, which is probably they do here, probably is they change this key here. So the file will be named like site home minus and then something else .css. So the browser has to load the new file since the name is changed. So you could set this to 10 years with no headache, because as soon as you have a new file, you rename it, so the browser has to load it again. So pretty impressive. I like this. I am not going to take this in more detail. Just have a look at this in more detail because it looks looks pretty impressive. But let's be fair. It's Android Pit is a new is a blog technique around techniques technique and technology. So I like it that it's that fast. I still ask myself why they haven't used lazy load, but okay. So let's have a look at this because these are the images. Yeah, nice one. So 21 kilobyte, like pretty small images. I like it, and they're also from another domain to do the same thing. So no cookie, and with probably multiple subdomains to split the load over more servers potentially, and to make the browser load images in parallel. Because as you may know, browsers only load keep like 6 connections open at the same time with a server, which means that at least 6 elements can be loaded in the same time at the same time, but not more. So if there are more, they get in the queue. They are queued, and then have to wait until all the other resources are loaded until they will proceed. And you see it here. You see this element has been queued like for 463 milliseconds until it got loaded. So, and it's also true for this one. And okay, this one was pretty short, and it keeps like this. You see a pretty long keyword time compared to the others, to the other time that the elements needed until they could be loaded and displayed. So you see, it's like the queuing time is like almost the same the whole time from until this element was rendered. Right. Okay, interesting enough. So I'm going to close here. So this is a pretty cool page, pretty fast. Images are very small. There is not much data that's been transferred. Pretty quick to load. Yeah, so reloading it is very fast, feels fast enough. And okay, we could also do one thing. I disable the cache, and I give it in reload, and then we can check how many of these elements are loaded from cache. And you see, I'll do once again, and you see it's like lots of elements are from memory cache. So the cache is set, as we've already saw. Pretty cool, pretty good. So in this case, we just transferred like 2 kilobyte or 29 kilobyte. So sorry, it was just the images. So we transferred in total 29.8 kilobyte because everything else was cached. And this is pretty cool. Yeah. So thank you for today. Come back to test another web page tomorrow. Bye.